Hi there folks, it's Matt Hayson with this week's Property Market Pulse. Well, we are now in the final selling stages for 2019. New listings entering the market have largely ceased. So if you're a buyer, what you're seeing available right at the moment is likely to be the best level of property you'll see until the market kicks off again around maybe the middle of January, but it's likely we won't see any volume until early February. But looking at this month of November, will we look back at it as being a peak selling period for this new market cycle? Looking at some of the sales results we've had in the last week, it would certainly suggest that buyers are in peak purchasing mode at the present time. Let's take a look at some of these sales, starting with 1 Booth Street in Balmain. Now, this was blue chip real estate for a marquee terrace, which was sold by Danny Cobden and Samantha Elvey. This property did require substantial work to modernise, but on Saturday, we saw 9 registered bidders push this property price up to $2.69 million, which was well above the reserve at 2.2. We then swing across to 93 to 95 Thompson Street in Drummoyne, which was sold by Tim Whelan and Jack Hughes. Now, again, a pretty interesting property, 2 semis on 1 block, 550 square metres, but it did require significant work as well. Now, most of the feedback through the course of that campaign was sitting in that early, maybe to mid $2 million range, but on Saturday at auction, it sold for $2.88 million, again, significantly above the reserve. We then swing across to Ashfield. Now, this property was very interesting. It recorded the most number of registered bidders in our company's history, sitting at 35. Now, for this modest apartment, the guide was $630,000, but it did sell for $937,000. So what we're seeing at the moment is some consistency around property selling, not just a little bit above reserve, but considerably above the set reserves. And then to close out this round of sales, we also sold 36 Nicholson Street in Balmain East, which was a magnificent waterfront home. And this really reflected the confidence in this top end of the market. We had multiple offers on the property and it sold prior to auction, and again put a stamp in this prestige market for another sale between $6 and $7 million in the local market. So folks, we've roughly got 3 weeks remaining of auctions. This weekend, November 30, followed up by December 7 and December 14. That'll close out the majority of auctions across the Sydney market. There may be a little trickle onto December 21, but if you're a buyer, it's this next 2.5 weeks to really focus on to secure a home before the Christmas break. And that leads us into this weekend, folks. We're Cobden and Hayson. We've got roughly 60 properties still on the market and some very willing sellers. And our entire team looks forward to meeting you out and about this weekend. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.